It's Perp back with another video, and I just got out of watching Your Monster. This is starring Melissa Barrera and Tommy Dewey. And wow, yo, first off, shout outs to Melissa Barrera. She's definitely been killing it this year. She did a great job in Abigail, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie overall. I think she does a solid job in these horror roles that she's been doing, and definitely has come a long way since Scream 5, and definitely has shown improvements. In this movie, we're going to talk about it because I have a lot of thoughts. So, Melissa Barrera plays our main character, Laura, and we see that she's in this relationship with this guy named Jacob. But then once she starts to get sick, Jacob starts to kind of fall back and, distance himself from her, breaking up with her. This kind of sends her down a very emotional roller coaster, if you want to call it that. Then we get introduced to Monster, played by Tommy Dewey, and it's literally the monster that's been living under her bed, her imaginary friend, if you want to kind of call it that. And this is where things really start to get interesting, as Monster pops up right where she needs him the most, because she's dealing with all these different emotions. She doesn't really know how to take this breakup. She still has feelings for this guy Jacob, while on top of that, she really is in love with the arts, like theater. She wants to be a part of this play, which Jacob wrote this specific part for her. And now it seems like, since they kind of distanced from one another, he's replacing her, and she's still trying to be a part of the process and the play overall, and also dealing with this monster that at first it was kind of a rocky relationship because they haven't seen each other. He constantly is reminding her, like, do you remember me from this point in your life or that point in your life? It's been a while. And over the course of like 2 weeks, they start to really bond and get much closer due to just their shared love of theater, acting. And I really like that kind of meta in this. You have actors talking about acting in an acting role. It's very interesting how they kind of present it. And man, Melissa does just such a great job showing off her range. This movie starting off like a kind of like a typical rom-com would. You see a person go through a breakup, they find somebody new, they start to kind of fall for one another. But this takes a very dark turn, as Laura's character just gets progressively worse mentally, to the point where she's kind of fed up. And I'm not going to spoil what ends up happening, but it's a really interesting kind of take on just, there's a little bit of like mental health there, and just like what is real and what is not, and what does this monster really represent for Laura. Is this an extension of just all the bullshit kind of built up, and she created this monster? This is the reason why this monster is popping up now, to kind of channel her rage or certain emotions. Very fascinating ways to kind of look at this movie, and I really appreciate the different things that were done in this movie. Like, there's definitely a lot of musical takes in this movie. There's a lot of musical takes in a lot of these different films, ironically. And I find that to be interesting, with Joker 2, and just how people were kind of split on that. But I don't want to talk about that. But this was a really interesting romance, comedy, horror. I definitely feel like there's elements of this that they did better than something like Lisa Frankenstein, even though that was a solid movie. I just enjoyed the performances here more, and just the different layers this story took. Overall, really appreciate this movie. I think this was a dope watch, and I think that you should definitely go check this out in theaters. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters. It might end up being on digital in a couple weeks, but definitely make sure you check this out, because I definitely feel like this was Melissa's best role thus far. We'll have to see what she does next and in the future overall. But yeah, if you get around to checking this out, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.